Yeah, yeah.
So in the last sessions, whatever we discussed, were you guys able to follow along with it or not?
Yes, sir. Till that changing the DNS, using the host file, all those things, right?
Yeah. Okay. Changing the host file, all
Till
that we have done. Okay, good.
yeah,
So that means we are able to access the website properly. So what I need to
yeah,
do
yeah,
now
yeah.
is, okay, let me just quickly switch on my second VM and then I can continue.
So, if you don't mind, can you give a small recap of how you find the path of the website?
Path of the website. Okay.
Yeah, how you found?
For this
Actually, I
particular
forgot.
machine, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, we'll look into that. No worries. So everything up to that point is clear. Like, what have we done before that?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so first, okay, let me just, while the machine is booting up, let me just give you a quick recap of what we did up to that point. So first we look for the IP address, and again, you can either use Nmap, you can do a ping sweep, or you can use NetDiscover to look for the IP address, since we know that it's on the same network as our attacking machine.
Okay, okay,
So when we got the IP address, we ran an Nmap scan. We figured out what open ports are present, because that information then allows us to see what services are running and how we can target them.
yeah, yeah.
So once we figured out the open ports, okay, so we saw that one is FTP. And
Is
have we
the
talked about that
such?
FTP port?
No, sir. I
No.
just gone through this web
Okay. So there are three ports open actually: FTP, SSH, and of course HTTP.
HTTP. Yeah,
Now for FTP, the first thing you do is you try using an anonymous login, because a lot of uh, FTP servers, if they are not properly configured, they'll allow anonymous logins. And what that means is
mhm.
you can use the username anonymous, password anonymous, and you'll be able to log in onto that FTP server. So that is the first thing that you could try with any FTP server that you find. Because if there are some files on that server, that might also give you some more information that could be helpful. When you talk about SSH, now usually you don't really just try to use SSH unless you have some more information about it, because then basically what you'd be doing is brute forcing your way, and brute forcing is something that's used as a last resort, not as the first thing that you try.
Okay.
And with HTTP, if you see that HTTP is open, if port 80 is open, that means there is some service running, which means we have an opportunity to try and hack into the web server. Through that, we can hack into the system. So our main attack vector in this situation is the web server, and that is what we are going to pursue. Taking a little more time to boot.
What about the path, sir? Path of the website.
Path of the website. Okay. So what we do is, now you know that there is a web server running on port 80.
Yeah.
You already have the IP address of that device, of that system. So the first thing you do is try to access that IP in your browser. If it works, if you are able to access that means there is a website there. But again, now the thing is, you don't know what directories are present or what files are present in that website.
Mhm.
So for that, you use a tool like DIRB, which is DIRB, or DIRBuster, which is basically stands for Directory Buster. So
Okay.
what it does is it has a list of common directories and file names on web servers. So it goes through that list and tries to access every URL that is a part of that list. So if it exists on your website or on your target web server, then that means you can access it. So you use a tool like that to try and figure out
Okay.
the paths. Okay, I'll even let's I'll show you that as well.
Sir, one more common question. What is
Okay,
the difference between exploit and payload?
between exploit and payload. Okay, exploit is your, okay, basically a way of saying that, okay, this is a vulnerability and I'm going
Okay.
to make use of that vulnerability. Now, exploit, one thing
Okay.
that you can say is, okay, I'm exploiting a vulnerability. So, exploit is basically any means, any method by which an attacker would try to take advantage of a vulnerability within a network, within a system, within any resource that they find. Payload specifically refers to the code, okay, the program, the actual code, which might be in C, Java, Python, whatever language you're using.
Okay. Okay.
Payload is the actual code that you use when you want to exploit a vulnerability.
Okay.
Now, okay, we are in the system. Let us let us start. Now, what we are supposed to do is, let me just try pinging the other IP. See, we've already discovered the IP previously. I'm not going through that step again. So not 10.10, 10.0.2.245. Okay, so it's online. So that means the IP is correct. It has not changed since the last time. Now this is the IP of our target. Okay, if I do a quick nmap scan of the entire thing, then I'll see 3 open ports. Now what I'm going to do is I can do a service version detection for these 3 ports specifically because I know these are open. Why run it for all ports? Okay, meanwhile, what I'll also do is in another tab. Now we talked about finding the path. Okay, so the first thing to try and do is access the IP in your browser since we know that there is a web server running and it's on port 80. Now it's possible that this web server might not be on port 80 as well. It's possible that the web server is running on a different port. In that case, you would also have to specify the port number. Now, okay, let's try accessing it 10.0.2.245. So this is the IP, we know that. And we also know that port 80 is
Sir,
present.
what was the tool name to analyze the path? Derplay, sir.
I'm going through that as well.
Okay. Okay.
So we know that this is the IP and there is a web server running, so we don't have to specify the port as well because it's running on the default port 80. So we try to access it, but the only thing we get is this. It works. This is the default web page. Okay, this is not really helpful to us. Okay, because there's nothing you can do with this information. So we try to find different directories or files on this website. So for that, you can use a tool known as DIRB. There is another one known as DIRBuster, and there is a third one known as GoBuster. Okay, all of these have the same purpose, which is, let me show you. Now Derb, okay, if I want to use Derb, this is how I can use it. There are some usage examples as well. So Derb, and I present it the URL. So the URL is simply http 10.0.2.245. Now at this point, this is all we know about the website. We don't know any other directories. So this is our target. And with Derb, I have specified that, okay, this is what I want you to look at. Okay, so if I press enter, now it's going to use one of its own internal word lists, which is called common. And what it does is it takes this URL, it scans it, tries to find the different paths which might be present on the website. So using its own word list, it has already found one directory for us, which is okay, this 10.0.2.245/secret.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, whether robot.txt will be working in this case?
Yes, that is also something that you can test for any website. But since this is not a website, this is just the preliminary page of the web server, you won't see robots.txt here. Now in the secret directory, okay, so this is the website. It's basically a blog and it has been created using WordPress. So there are multiple instances where they are telling you that they are using WordPress. Now, about robots.txt, of course, you can take a test for it, but there is no guarantee that you'll receive anything or, okay, in this case, the file is not even present. So they haven't even included a robots.txt here.
Okay.
Now, see, Derb is still, okay, okay, it's not still running, it has finished. And within this secret directory itself, it has found a few things. Okay, so that's fine. Now this is the website, and what we want to do is we want to figure out information about this. Now, of course, one way to do things is to simply go through the website, browse the different posts and stuff, but there is hardly anything here. Okay, there's just this one article, and it has been written by the admin. So when I was discussing web scanners, when I was talking about them, there was one tool that I mentioned specifically for scanning WordPress websites, which is known as WP Scan.
Yeah.
So this is specially made for scanning WordPress websites. Now we have already established that the website is using WordPress. So I can make use of this tool. I can use WP Scan and try to scan for vulnerabilities within this website. Okay, that hosts part is clear. Why we edited the host file in order to properly access the website.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Clear? Okay, good. Now what we do is with WP
Hello.
scan. Yes,
Hello.
yes, hello. Am I not audible?
Hello. Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, am I not audible to you right now?
No, sir. Actually, your voice is breaking for me.
Voice is
Now
breaking.
you're clear.
Clear now? Okay.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Carry on.
So what we need to do is with WP scan, we need to scan this website. So WP scan double hyphen URL HTTP. Now this HTTP that I have attached in the front, this is quite important when you're specifying these URLs in such tools. Okay, so secret, that is where our website is located. Not updated the database. Okay, we can try this as well. The more recent your database is, if it's updated, that's a good thing, definitely. So let's do that. So it's going through the scanning process. Okay, so the scan is finished. Let's see the kind of information that it found. Headers, interesting entry server. Okay, WordPress README found. Not really of much consequence to us right now. Directory has listing enabled WP content uploads. Now, this might be useful because there might be some file uploaded which might have some information for us. Again, it might no. Okay, I'll do that. VTC VTC secret. What is the path? Did we use the wrong one? Let me check again. Close. Nothing. Okay. Go to the Google search. So in the uploads directory, it doesn't look like there is anything for us really. There's just this directory called 2020, and it has a couple other subdirectories, but they're all empty. So again, this is not really useful. It turned out to be a dead end. But of course, never disregard information like this that you get from a scan, because in our case, okay, we didn't find anything, but it's very much possible that you may find something interesting in this case. So okay, don't dismiss scan results. Okay, maybe this did not give us anything. It says the external WP cron seems to be enabled. Now cron is actually a scheduler for Linux systems, but it does not really help us in any way. WordPress version identified. Okay, main theme could not be detected. Enumerate waiting. Plugins, no plugins found. No configuration, backups found. Okay. What we can do is we can try to enumerate users. Let's see if there are more users present. So for that, I'm using the option -E for enumerate and U for users. So you want to try and list all the users that are present here. Again, we may or may not find more users, but it's also good to try and figure out. So in users identified, it tells us that admin user was found. Other than that, it is not telling us anything else. Okay. So the admin user is found. Let's, so we know one thing, that the username is admin. So let's try default passwords now. So a few defaults are the word password itself. Okay, it says the password you entered for the username admin is incorrect. So in this case, the WordPress has been incorrectly configured, because you should never be telling a user that the password they have entered for a particular username is correct. Because if they didn't know that the username existed, now they know. So you are giving away information without any purpose. So that's why if you are configuring something on your own, make sure, if you are ever into web development or something, make sure that your website is not giving information like this. If the password is incorrect, or if the user is incorrect, or if even if both are incorrect, your message should be that username or password is incorrect. So you should always be saying username or password incorrect, not password incorrect or username incorrect. Okay, username incorrect is not something that will come, but this kind of message is not really a good thing, because if we did not know that there is an admin account, if there is an account by the name of admin present, now we know that. So from an attacker's point of view, this is a good thing, but from a security point of view, it's a bad thing. Now, okay, password didn't work. Maybe the word admin itself works, because that's a default in a lot of cases. Let's see. I think it worked. Okay, let's wait for the server to respond. Okay, so it worked. So default password, okay, admin, that's the combination. Username admin, password admin. It worked, and we are able to log in as the WordPress administrator now. Now see, as the admin, what you can do is you now have access to your dashboard. So you can make any kind of changes within WordPress. So whatever you want, you can do in WordPress. Now, okay, if you are pressed for time, if you don't have enough time when you are doing this, what you can do is you can simply use Metasploit. Okay, there is another method that I'll show you after that, which you can use to target this thing. Okay, so it has opened. Now see, we have admin access to WordPress because we are logged in as the admin account. We are able to log in as the admin account. So what we can do is we can upload a shell. We can upload a payload actually to the WordPress website that will allow us to get shell access. So we can search for WordPress admin. Let's see what we find. Okay, a lot of stuff. Okay, this is the thing we need. WordPress admin shell upload. So use 413. Right. WP admin shell upload. Let's see the options. So the username and password we need to set. These are the username and passwords for the WordPress account. And also the password is also admin. So username admin, password admin. Okay, what else do we need? Our hosts, of course. So the IP I need to provide. What else is needed? Target URI. Okay. Target URI is simply our URL. Now I can't simply use it directly because I need to point it to the secret thing. So secret,
Sir, you are okay.
because if I just specify this, it is going to try and attack this address. But the secret portion, that is where our WordPress website is. Okay. Let us check the options once again to ensure that everything is correct. Password admin, username admin. Okay. Now we can run. Let's try and run it now. Okay, so we now have a Meterpreter shell.
Sir,
Oh,
what was the password of this admin?
admin.
Okay, admin, same name. Okay.
Yeah. So whenever you find an username like that, okay, you can try some default password. Like for admin, a default combination is admin admin. You'll find this even for, let's say, your router management console. Even there, the default password is kept as admin admin. Similarly, for a lot of places, the default is simply admin admin, or you could use something, try using something like the word password itself or pass. So these few common words you can try using. Password, password123, pass123. These are quite common. So for admin, we tried password, that didn't work. Then we tried admin itself and it worked. Now we have a Meterpreter shell on our target. So when we hack into a system, our target is to get shell access. Now let's find out what user ID we are logged in as. Okay, so we are logged in as www data. And the thing is, we don't have any root privileges or anything. on this system.
Okay.
Now what I like to do is I like to get a direct shell on the system if I'm working. The meter preter is not really something which is preferred. The direct shell, it doesn't seem to be responding. Okay. Okay, so it's not really allowing us to get into a shell like this, but we'll get a shell when we use the other method. Okay, so even that's not too much of an issue. What we can do is, see, now that we have shell access, can you tell me what should be the first thing that we would do, or what would be our first goal after you get shell
Backdoor,
access on your machine? Hmm?
backdoor, backdoor.
Backdoor? No. We have shell access. We are logged in as www data.
Privilege escalation.
Yes, privilege escalation is our first goal, because as a server account, as that www data account, there are a lot of things that are going to be restricted to us. So we should try to escalate our privileges now. That would
Sir,
be the best
can
thing.
you little bit explain about this exploit? How it exploited?
How it exploited? Okay, basically what it did was it tries to it see, since you are an admin, okay, on the WordPress website.
Okay.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
admin can do a lot of things. Okay, there's the entire dashboard. You can upload plugins. You can, you know, manage stuff that is installed. You can change properties belonging to the website, belonging to that, okay,
Okay.
WordPress website. You can do a lot of stuff as an admin. Okay, so what we did, what this exploit does is it logs in as the admin and uploads a file which it gets the web server to execute. So since it is a WordPress
Okay.
admin, it is easily able to upload stuff to the web server.
Okay. Okay.
So it's running a PHP file and using that to get a shell. Now, what we need to do is, like I mentioned, privilege escalation. So when you hack into a system and now you want to know how you can perform privilege escalation. Okay, so what you usually do is you have some kind of script that checks for privilege escalation possibilities on a system, and if it does find something, it will tell you. So what you do is you have the script on your own system and you upload it to the target. So let me check which script I have. One is this Unis Prives check. If I have it on my system, it should show up here. Okay, this is a privilege escalation script, a user bin Unix Prives check. And I use the locate command to find out the address for this file. So I have it and simply copy it. And now I don't want to run this on my system. I want to run this on the target system, because we need to figure out the privilege escalation vectors there. So
Okay.
from meterpreter, if you look at the help, okay, what we need to do is we need to upload this file there. So do we have anything for that here? Let's see. There is, okay, there is this upload command, so we can upload this thing. Okay, where are we currently? Okay, no worries. Let's upload that file. It's saying operation failed. Let me just try and get a new shell. This shell is failing everything. Failed to upload the payload. Okay. Let's see what the issue is. Okay, the system is up and running. Is the website not running currently? Website seems to be running.
Sir, is there any other method to get the shell?
Yeah, there is a method. I'll show you that as well. Um, I'm just restarting the VM. I think I might have.
Okay.
Okay, it's not again. Let's try. It's failing for some reason. The session wouldn't be running. Okay. So we have our session again. Now let's try uploading that file. Okay, then get UID. Okay. Operation failed, right? Again, as soon as you do this PWD, the operation fails for some reason. I think we UID would fail. How do I do this? Getting an answer. Okay. Let's try one more time. If not, then I'll shift to using the other method. Exploit aborted again. What is the issue?
Sir, I will switch to my phone, sir.
Okay, that's up to you. Okay, I'll just try the upload one last time, see if it works. Otherwise, I'll shift to the other method. No point trying to continue doing this. Okay, it's not working. Leave it. Now, as I said, see, we are already admin here. That means we can make any changes that we want to the website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit one of the pages itself.
Okay.
So I go to appearance, editor. I understand. Now what I'm going to do is what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the code for one of the pages with some malicious code. What malicious code? It's a reverse PHP shell. So what happens is when you access the page on the browser, that PHP code will run and it will try to create a connection to whatever API I specify. Since it's a reverse PHP shell, I'm going to get it to connect to my system. I'll specify my IP and I'll get it to connect to myself. So I'm going to be using a reverse shell written in PHP. Now for this, the most common and one of the best reverse shells is made by a team known as Pentest Monkey. So they have this very nice reverse shell that we can use. So this is the shell. What I'll do is I'll just copy this entire thing. Just copy this. And on one of the pages, I'll use this okay, single post. So let's try and edit the page for single post. Now currently, if I view a single post, this is the page that opens. I can select all of this and replace it with the code that I have copied, the reverse shell code. So this is the code for the reverse shell. Now there is a modification that I need to make, the IP and the port. So in the IP, I need to specify my own IP 10.0.2.15 so that this machine can connect to my device. And port, I can either leave this as it is or I'll just specify 5555. You can use any port you want. That's not really a restriction. And after I'm satisfied with the changes I've made, I can update file. Now see what is going to happen if I open this blog in another tab. So everything would run as usual, but okay, what I'll do is on my system, I'll open up a connection using netcat, and for that I'll use nc for netcat hyphen n because I don't want to do any DNS resolution here. This is just everything is going to be based on IP addresses. Hyphen L because I want it to listen on that port, not connect to another device. V because I want my connection to be verbose, so I need it to give me some details. And P to specify the port number. The port number that we mentioned there was 5555. That is what we are going to use. So listening on any 5555. That means it's listening on port 5555 for a connection using any incoming protocol, any protocol, TCP, UDP, whatever you are using. Now what I'll do is I'll go to this website. Now, if you remember, we edited the page for a single post. So if I click on this, this is it should open up the page for a single post for this particular post. but you can see it's taking time. Why? Because our malicious PHP code is running. And if I come back to my terminal, I will see that I have shell access. I got a reverse shell on my netcat connection. So this is the shell for my www data. Now this is not a proper shell. Okay, so to get a proper shell, what I can try to do is Python c import pty. Okay, yeah, let's take the again. We're going to open this, and it's going to again give us a connection. What we're doing is we're using Python to open a proper bash shell.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have a much better shell with Python. Now we are www data at the rate VTC set. Now one thing I mentioned earlier was you need to check for ways to do privilege escalation. Okay, so for that you can upload such scripts that I mentioned earlier and run them on the system. But before you do that, there's also other things that you can try. Okay, like let's try to see. Um, okay, there's a problem with this shell apparently. Everything is appearing double. Okay, let us try the entire thing again. Hmm, undo that initially. Apparently, we won't be able to use this kind of shell on this system because it's taking our input incorrectly. Okay, it's just showing that incorrectly, but it's doing the correct one. Okay, so we can use it. Now, what I tried to do was I tried to see the contents of the etc shadow file. Shadow file is where the passwords are stored. So we're able to see the password file itself. Great. Now the only available password here is for a user known as Marlin Spike. Okay, so this is the password hash. Actually, of course, it's not the complete password, it's the password hash. So what I can do is I can copy this and I can try to crack this password hash. Now, of course, I'll do that back on my own system. Now, what I'll do is I'll create a file, nano pass. I'll simply paste this password, save and exit, and I'll use John the Ripper to crack this password.
Okay.
Okay, actually, it's better if I copy this entire thing and give it. Okay, oh, it's done already. So it's probably figured out. I say show, then I'll get the result. Marlin Spike. Okay. So the username itself is the password again. And one password hash cracked. So there was only one password hash to crack. And we have the password now. So it's Marlin Spike. And meanwhile, I can delete this file. Now, if I have the password already, what I can do is either I can switch user here or I can simply log in using SSH Marlin Spike at,
So from cell we can switch user, right?
yeah, we can switch user. So either I can do that or I can log in through SSH since I have the password. So if
Okay.
I want to switch from here, SU,
Sir, SSH password will be same as a user password or
yes,
okay, it will be same. Okay.
SSH is simply, it's a way to allow you to log into a system remotely and of course securely with encrypted communication.
Okay.
You will only be able to log in if you have credentials for a user account on that system.
Okay.
Okay, so with SSH, it's like, let's say you're logging onto your system remotely. So in order to do that, you need to know the credentials of your own system, of your own account in order to log in. So that's the thing. Okay, I misspelled something in this case. Switch user, MARLIN, Marlin Spike, password. Okay, keep misspelling this. And of course, it's taking everything as a double text. That's why I prefer just signing in through SSH.
Okay.
Now, for the Marlin Spike user account, we have the credentials. We have logged in using SSH. Now, one of the things that you see when you log in as a user is you try to figure out whether this user can run anything as sudo, because ultimate goal is always to get root access. Okay, we have user access. We are logged in as a user, but can we get root access? That is the question. So one thing to see is whether we can run anything as sudo. So for that, you use the command sudo -l. Now this is going to list everything that is possible for this user account with sudo. If you can use sudo for any command. So let's see. Okay, now this is the important part. User Marlin Spike may run the following commands on VTC all. So basically, Marlin Spike can use sudo on any command. So this command, so this account can run anything they want as sudo. Basically, it's the equivalent of having root privileges. Now, okay, since we are viewing this as point of view on a CTF, we can also try to look for interesting files. Okay, just excuse me for a couple of minutes. I'll come back and I'll continue. Okay, so what we have is, so far we are logged in as Marlin Spike, which is a user on the system, and we found out that they can use sudo. Now, before I move on to anything else, let's see whether we can find any interesting files in this users directories. Let us first check where we are. Okay, home Marlin Spike, ls. For the most part, it's just files related to the FTP service that's running and it's backdoored. Again, that is also something that can be exploited using Metasploit. And for hidden files, of course, you can use -a, but there seem to be no hidden files that would be of use to us, unless, of course, you talk about something like MySQL history. So this file can be useful if you're trying to get database credentials. Try to view this file. Okay, but this does not really have any credential details in it, so no point. Doesn't look like there are any other interesting files here. You can go to the desktop or downloads folders and see there, but again, it's unlikely that you're going to find anything interesting. It's all just these zip files containing the FTP service. Okay, so nothing interesting here. Now, can anyone tell me how I can spawn a shell as the, so what I'm trying to say is, when I use this shell, I should have root privileges. I should be logged in as a root account on a shell. How do I do that?
No idea, sir.
Okay, I can give you a hint. I used that command earlier.
Maybe you need to upload that privilege escalation file.
No uploading. Just I need to run a command. That's it.
Sudo.
Okay, I'll use sudo, but what do I do after that?
Sudo for
See, I need to get a shell as root. Now, if you remember, we after we had gotten the initial shell, we used Python to get a better shell.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can simply run that command again. But now I can use sudo.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so let me do that. So with sudo, see,
Sir, or else we can use sudo su now, sir.
su you can use if you know the password. Do you know the root password?
No, no. Okay.
Su you can use if you know the, see, su is used to switch user. Su is switch user. Okay, so if you are switching user accounts, you need to know the password for the other account if you want to log in. So unless you do that, you cannot
Okay.
use su. Okay, now so as you can see, the user ID has changed. Now we are root at VTC sec. You can also confirm this. Who am
Sir,
I?
can't we use hashing John
Hmm.
the Ripper to crack the hash of a root user?
You can, yes, you can. You can try to do that as well.
Okay.
And now since you're root, you can also change the password for the root account. So I've changed the password for the root account as well. As I've simply kept it as root. Of course, you can do that. You can change that to whatever you want. And now that I'm root, I have full access to anything I want on the system. Let's take a look at what is present in the root directory. Okay, nothing useful. Basically, that's what our purpose is, to get root access and get access to any file that we want. Now, even this does not really have any flags for us to actually capture, but otherwise we would have captured something. So this is one way. By using, you know, WordPress, by using the website, we were able to get into this system. Okay. Now there is another method. If this Pro FTPD service is running, if I open up Metasploit again,
Sir, where is the flag actually?
flags are usually located in the root directory and in the user directory. So if there were flags, we would have seen one flag in the root directory and another one in the
In this
admin
case,
spike
where is
directory.
the flag?
Hmm?
In this case, where is the flag?
In this case, there are no flags. Again, this is not actually developed with the point of having flags. It was
Okay,
just
it's
developed as a small experiment, but it grew on to be a very popular CTF. So that's why we're seeing it. That's why we're using it here. But originally, it was not meant to be circulated over the internet. This was just developed for an in-house competition in a university.
actually it's better than the Metasploit method.
Yeah, this gives you actually more ways to hack into it, and is slightly, it requires slightly more effort, or actually it requires considerably more effort than Metasploitable. Now, okay, I was showing you the Metasploit method for the FTP one as well. Pro FTPD.
Totally, how many methods are there, sir, to get into the?
There are two main methods of doing this.
Okay,
One that we have seen, and even that method has two variants.
yeah.
We could also have used Metasploit there, but we were getting an error, so I said, okay, let's just leave that and use this method. And the other method is to exploit the FTP service. So this is a backdoor, you can see, in 1.3.3c, which is the version of Pro FTPD service that is being used. So we can just try using this as well. Use for show options. All we need to do is set our hosts. Our host would be 10.0.2.245 and run. Okay, it's saying that a payload has not been selected. Okay, no problem. just use this reverse. Few options again. I'll host our own IP and run. Root. Okay, so this directly gives us root access because there is already a backdoor in this FTP daemon. So this is another way to hack into the system. Okay, so this method was fairly straightforward. Simply, after your nmap scan, you figure out that okay, this version has a backdoor, and you use that vulnerability to get root access. And the other method that we used, what we did is we went to the web server. You can see that page is still loading because it was actually edited and it was our reverse shell. Now what we did with this HTTP thing is, first we went to the website, we used derb to figure out that there was a secret directory. We accessed it, we found out that okay, things are not showing up properly, so we edited our host file. We saw that it was trying to connect to VTC-sec, so we made that connection in our host file. So after that, this website started opening up properly. Then we accessed this. We ran a scan using WordPress. Sorry, using WP scan. Again, it was not very helpful, but eventually we logged in as the admin. Then we edited one of the pages in the theme and we replaced the original code with the code for a PHP reverse shell. We saved that, and when we access that page, that reverse shell code ran, and we had opened up a netcat connection and we were able to connect. Then we saw that we were able to access the shadow file. Okay, after that we got a proper Python shell, access the shadow file, got the password hash, used John the Ripper to crack it, use that to log in via SSH, saw that we have sudo permissions, we can use sudo for everything, use this to our advantage to get a shell as root, and finally we had root access that way. So do you have any questions from this entire process?
No, sir.
No. Okay.
Sir, can you share the command?
Which one?
Privilege escalation command.
Privilege escalation, are you talking about the shell one?
Yes.
Okay, this is not strictly for privilege escalation. Okay,
Mhm.
this is just to get a shell, to get a proper bash shell using Python. But if you have sudo permissions, if you can run this command with sudo, that means that the shell you get, you'll get that as root. Okay, so this is not strictly for getting root privileges.
Okay.
Okay, of course I can give you this command, and it is very useful. The more you use it, the more familiar you get with it. Like in the beginning, you will feel with this thing that you might have to memorize all of this stuff, but that's not the case. You don't need to memorize anything. This is all stuff that will come to you naturally as you keep practicing. Okay, so for the basic pen testing system, that's it basically. The next machine that we will be working on is called Mr. Robot.
Robot.
Okay, uh, actually, so this is the machine that we are going to target next. It's a CTF known as Mr. Robot, and it's based off of a TV show by the same name. Okay, now this actually has flags for us to find. So Mr. Robot, and you can find this on WildHub. I'll give you this link in the chat. So this is the next one that we are going to see.
Okay.
Okay, so try to get this set up on your system as soon as you can. And it's just 700 MB, it's not too large. So you can get the file from here. And okay, we currently worked on this basic pen testing. The creator of that system also has another machine known as basic pen testing 2. Okay, so it's, you could say it's kind of like a sequel. Now this is not part of the course, I'll not be covering this in class, but I'd recommend that you do try this out. Okay, try to see as far as you can get on your own when you're trying things on your own. If not, don't worry, after you go through the entire course, try these things at the end, then I think you'll find that these things become easier later on. But definitely do try this. Okay, so it's by the same person who created this basic pen testing machine. And again, this is the link. I'll actually provide you the link for this as well in chat. Now I'm not going to cover this in class here, but
Okay.
you can try this out if you want. I'll also be telling you other systems that you can try on. There's actually a series known as Chioptrix that you can work on. Okay, so Chioptrix, there are 5 levels, 5 different machines. So you can try this as well.
Whether we will be working on this, sir?
Hmm?
Whether we will be working on this in this course or
No, not on this course, but
okay, just to try. Okay.
yeah, I mean, you won't be just limiting yourself to what we'll study in this course, right? You can practice other stuff as well to build up your skills. And I would definitely recommend that even after this course is finished, keep practicing. Don't stop that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, that's it for the basic pen testing thing. We'll start with the Mr. Robot machine in the next session. Okay. Do you have any questions? Does anyone have anything that you'd like to ask from today's session or from any previous one?
No, sir.
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. So keep in mind that you do practice regularly. Try these things out by yourself on your own systems. If you are facing difficulties, if you're facing problems, of course, we can discuss that. We can try to see what the issue is, but you have to practice. Okay.
Yes.
So without practice, there's no point in taking this course. Okay, so I'll continue the course. tomorrow. That's it.